Minority Recruit Online, it's a God-given vision. It is a vision I was given from the start to help connect students to colleges, so colleges might share information, answer questions about their campus from a diversity standpoint, what programs, what services are offered on their campus, and it grew to the schools, the colleges, asking me to help them in their recruitment efforts.
I have about 12 colleges. I partner with about 200 colleges. I have 12 colleges that wanted to come to DC and share what they have to offer to you. We've got Morehouse back here. Who's heard of Morehouse? Okay. Who's heard of Johnson State? You have Northern Kentucky. University of Cincinnati. Bowie. Glenville State? Okay.
I work for Albertus Magnus College, which is in New Haven, Connecticut, and we've been working with Minority Recruit Online for the past year and are trying to get more students from the DC area. Today, we are hoping to just educate students on Albertus Magnus as a college, but also on what it takes to be admitted to college and also be successful in college. Because it doesn't stop there, and especially with admission, we lose sight of the fact that students apply and then are admitted, and then they enroll, but really our goal is for them to graduate, matriculate, and become successful alumni. So that's what I want to encourage the students to do. Along with their application process, consider themselves as going to an institution where they're going to be successful and graduate in 4 years. We are the smallest college in the state of Connecticut. So we have 550 students. We're a liberal arts institution. We have a nice holistic approach to admission. Many of our students are really diverse in the sense that they want to do a lot of different things. They want to major in a particular aspect of the liberal arts, but they also want to be leaders on campus. They join student groups. They want to participate in athletics. So that's what makes us a little bit unique, that we're not a big institution at all, but we have a nice fit for a lot of the students who attend Albertus. They're able to work more closely with their professors and their advisors, and because of that, we have strong retention rates and graduation rates. I am a first generation graduate from college. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents are Dominican. They came here in the 70s, so I was their first child. And I always had aspiration of going to college. I left New York to go to school. I was a recruited athlete. I played baseball. One of the wonderful things about being an athlete is that you have a lot of people who you have to report to. My freshman year, I did not do well. I had a low enough GPA that I was actually kicked off the team because I didn't make NCAA guidelines for eligibility. So that was a great life experience. I wish I would not have done it, but I learned a lot from it. I had to apply myself in the classroom. I had to make sure that I time managed very correctly. And I still was able to graduate in 4 years, even though I slipped up my freshman year. I come from very proud parents. I have a younger sister. She graduated from college as well. As soon as I completed college, I started working in admissions, and I fell in love with the work. So I've been doing it now for 13 years. I have my master's in leadership now from Albertus Magnus College as well. And I love working with students, especially first-generation students, inner-city students, because I was that student, and I try to tell them my story as much as I can, because I don't want them to fall into that trap of, because I was lucky. I had great coaches who pulled me aside and said, you need to stop doing what you're doing and you need to focus on your school. And I had great parents who supported me as well. I just think that for all students to keep their options open, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to a guidance counselor, a community-based organization, or an admission professional, and get your questions answered, because college is a fun journey, but there should be a destination at the end. You should be graduating. You should be getting through. It's nice to be admitted to a lot of different schools, but it's better to graduate from that school.
Does anybody know how the college process works once you turn your application? This is very important. Does anybody know how it works? Tell me how it works. Anybody? Who knows how it works? Oh, okay. So this is the importance and the value of information. So here's how it works. For most schools, you submit an application. All right. The colleges have the application. When you submit the application, they have what's called a grid, a chart. And what they do is they take the school that you're from, and they graded the school, right? And then they take the GPA, and then they take the test scores, and what kind of community service you've done. Who's done community service? Okay, all those things help in your profile. They're going to take them, and they're going to take the score. This is for most part. This is what colleges do. And they take the average, and they say, okay, they're in, based on your major. In some cases, they're out. This is how much money we're going to award them, along with your FAFSA income, and this, based on your GPA and test scores. Test scores have become, for many colleges, not all, really a strong indication of whether or not you're going to get in or not. Do I think it's fair? No. That's another conversation for another day. So if you know going in that your test scores may not be as high as we'd like or whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't do the work. It doesn't mean that at all. But it's important that you know the game. You need to have other things that might help support your case, like extracurricular activities, like community service. Colleges want to know what you're bringing to the table, not necessarily what they're offering you. What do you bring different? What's unique about you? And you need to tell the story. Don't miss the opportunity. If you've been, some of you might, for example, been helping support your family while going to school. That's not uncommon. They need to know about that because chances are in many cases, that affects your overall GPA. Look, if you're going to school and working, there might be a reasonable explanation for them to consider you otherwise, all right? So make sure your ducks are in a row. Make sure you tell your story. Because I think all of our kids' stories are very special, very important. And it's not about just GPA, and it's not about just ACT. It's the fact that you guys are sitting in this situation where you have the potential to go to school because you earned it. You earned it. You earned it. And you all know somebody that might be left in school, might not be in school, that makes some decisions where they're not sitting in this situation. You've earned it. But you gotta treat it like business from here because college is business.
We are here today, in partnership with the MRO because we believe in providing opportunities to more students. We want to see Washington, D.C. students, go to college. Of course, we'd love to see them come to Glenville State, but the big thing is we want to see more opportunities, more doors open for more students to be able to go to college and receive a bachelor's degree, and then continue their higher ed, hopefully with a master's and a doctorate as well. Well, Glenville State College has a lot of things and a lot of different activities, a lot of different majors that can be provided to students. We have some unique programs on campus. The High Adventure program is one program that we have on campus. The High Adventure program is we provide different opportunities to go around for students to go whitewater rafting, go rock climbing, go skydiving, and these trips are all at lower cost to students, since they are going through our campus with these. We have an ROTC program that's done through the Army and different things. We have all kinds of different sports to offer to men's and women's, from football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, track and field, cross country. We have different clubs, a lot of different clubs, student government associations on campus. There is a few, fraternities and sororities. There's been some other clubs started, like a swim club and a boxing club. So, there's a lot of different extracurricular activities as well as different majors. We're very well known for our education program. We have about every teacher education program a student wants to go into. We have a criminal justice program. We have a natural resource management program if someone's interested in the outdoors. There's surveying, land surveying, there's forestry, there's business management aspect you can do under the criminal justice aspect. So there's a lot of different majors for students to major in as well, to pursue their academic ambitions and goals. We do provide associate's degrees as well as bachelor's degrees, and Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. Our school is unique because it's kind of nestled back in Gilmer County. We are very close-knit with our community. The Glenville community and Glenville State College are very close together. The community supports the students. They love to see them come in each semester. So we're very involved with the community, as well as we have, a low student-to-teacher ratio, which most classes it's like 20 to 22 students to one professor. The professor actually knows your name, and it's just you get that feeling when you're on our campus that it's a family atmosphere. It's where you belong is our motto, and when you get there, you truly feel like that's where you belong, and we truly want to see students succeed academically in the classroom as well as outside the classroom. And so what we can offer to students in a roundabout aspect in their life and in their academic goals, as well as their ambitions for their future and their career path, we can meet them all. We do have a scholarship and a program that's called the Hidden Promise Consortium on campus, the Hidden Promise program, and we're trying to expand that beyond Central West Virginia into the DC students, Washington DC area, as well as like Maryland, Virginia, and other states. We're trying to expand that, but that's a program where we help them financially. There's a scholarship provided through it, as well as academically. We're going to keep watching them. We're going to have mentors helping them out. We're going to have tutoring if they need it. We want to see them succeed. We do trips with them. 2 trips, one in the fall, one in the spring, and it's all free of charge, just to be a part of this program. We get them involved with the community where they do some community service, to give back to Glenville State College, to give back to the Glenville community. So that's an excellent program. So there's a lot of aspects that we can bring and offer to Washington, D.C. students, where other universities cannot.
We had on-site admissions for them. Part of our process is, because of our partnership and relationships with colleges, that most of our applications are free once the student signs up with us. We have our college tours that we go on. We ask for a donation, literally of $50, $75. If the student doesn't or parent doesn't have the money, then we call on friends and companies to make contributions, to sponsor students. Our goal is to not leave any stone unturned when it comes to connecting a student to the possibilities out there to fulfill their dreams.
I'm affiliated with the program because of a counselor at my school during the after the football season, like in the summer. She had called me and asked me that I want to go on a college trip. And so I had went, and we had went to Connecticut. And so I pretty much got involved by her, and I just had fun. It was pretty much, it was good. I had a lot of fun. I came today because I pretty much want to broaden my horizon with colleges. Like I'm not sure where I want to go. I have colleges in mind, but I want to know what's my best fit. I want to major in criminal justice, homeland security.
Why?
I don't know, I just found interest in it. At my school, we have this program, and like we have you could do EMS or criminal justice, and I chose criminal justice. And we went on a couple of field trips to like investigation bureaus and stuff like that. And I just found interest in the homeland security.
I pop up at these events and do the fairs and everything, and that's great. But we need to recognize the people that do this daily, that are committed to this, that take the sacrifice for our kids, the salary, less salary, less prominence or whatever in some people's eyes or whatever. We need to view teachers, counselors in a completely different light. They are amazing people, committed and dedicated to seeing someone else do better than them. I mean, what could be more rewarding? I mean, that takes a special person.
Today's event was really important to my students because it was an opportunity for the colleges that they typically go to be brought into their city. It's kind of like a college tour at a college fair. I think it's very helpful because we got the students here in a timely fashion, an orderly fashion, and they got a lot of information that normally they wouldn't get and they'd have to go online and search for. This particular show today was more personable. They got a chance to shake the hand of the college admissions counselor who could very well be making the decision on whether they get admitted to that particular college or not. More is always better in the situation of college. You can never have, especially when all the individuals are giving you good information, you can never have too much help. Guidance counselors do a great job at the school, setting the foundation. You have parents at home that follow up the information that we give to the students during the school day. And then during the school day, we kind of accentuate what already occurs within a college-going culture at a high school. My high school in particular has a college-going culture, and everyone is invested, not just the college advisor, not just the guidance counselor, but the teachers, the administrative staff, all the way up and down the totem pole. So I think that as long as we continue to not necessarily force feed, but to keep the kids encompassed with this idea, that eventually is going to rub off. And going to college won't be as far-fetched an idea for any student.
I think today was a triumphant day. We are big on making sure we capture the cultural competency that occurs in our department, and to see our students blend together and really exercise the capacity that we're trying to build in them as far as moving them forward academically. Today was a success. I think they left here with some key ideals about where they want to go moving forward academically, and with schools that offer them the advantages they're looking for. I want them to take away that there are so many opportunities out there. It's just a matter of going and putting yourself out there, networking and talking to people, and not being afraid to push beyond their apparent walls of fear that they have.
How many of you guys use smartphones, first of all? All you guys use smartphones? Okay, good. There are so many applications for Androids, for Apple, for any kind of smartphones to actually prepare you for the SAT. I found the math portion of the SAT to be a little bit easier. The English portion was really, really hard. So it just had a lot of complicated words. And they do have applications for that. They have applications like in game versions of SAT prep sort of apps that you can just look at while you're on the train, while you're on the bus. You won't know that you're updating yourself, but you actually update yourself more than you know. So please download those. They're 1 or 2 megabytes, and they're really, really useful. So please do that. In school, you have to be able to schedule yourself from sunrise to sundown, right? No one is going to tell you to wake up. No one's going to tell you to eat breakfast. No one's going to tell you to study for your exams. No one's going to tell you to go to class. No one's going to tell you to study. You take the initiative to do whatever it is that you have to do. Second thing is self-motivation. You have to be able to motivate yourself to learn. You have to really be able to do that, because a lot of students are going to come and tell you, hey, let's party, let's do this, let's do that. And a lot of students slip just because they're peer pressured, right? They say yes to everything and anything they hear. But being able to self-motivate yourself, meaning balancing your social and academic life, right? What do I mean by social and academic life? What's an example of a social life or a social event? Hanging out with your friends, that's a social event, right? Exactly. What do I mean by academic life? Schoolwork, right? These people are not giving you $20,000, $30,000 to party, right? They're giving you that money to actually use it. And how do you use it? By going to class, by performing adequately, by waking up on time. The small things that you don't take into consideration now are going to be really, really significant once you enter college. Okay, third thing is communication skills. I've been telling this to everyone that has been coming here. When I was in college, I used to use the word Mo a lot. I don't know if it's still used right now, but Mo, like, what up, Mo? You know? Come on. Yeah, exactly. So, when I first entered my freshman class, it was a tutorial class called Americans in Paris, and I went to my professor and I was like, what up, Mo? I didn't know that, right? He was like, what up well, and it just didn't go well, right? So communication skills, learning how you speak with your peers and with those people out there, right? Knowing how to talk to people that are actually of use to you, knowing how to speak in class and how to speak with your friends. That's really, really key. A lot of people don't know how to do that, but it's really, really crucial for you guys to practice it right now while you have the time. Not when you're seniors, not when you're juniors, but I mean, for those who are juniors, start now, but not when you're not, like as soon as you can, like now is the time. The last thing I want to talk about is getting to know yourself better. What do I mean by getting to know yourself better? Knowing your interests. Exactly. So, I've been talking to a lot of the seniors, and most of them have told me that they've actually figured out what they want to study in college. I thought I had everything figured out. I thought I was going to study political science. What had happened was, is what I meant to say. I went in there, right? I switched from political science to anthropology. From anthropology, I switched to psychology. In psychology, I ended up with sociology. I'm a sociology major, right? I had my mind made up like most of the seniors out there, right? So if you really know what you want to do, which is not usually the case, right? Go for it. I'm not trying to discourage you guys. Definitely go for it. But also keep an open mind as to what you're interested in. So getting to know yourself personally, what makes you happy in life? Is helping people make you happy, doing social work. Just being able to actually analyze, take the time to know your personal side better would give you a better range of choices as to what you want to study once you get to college. Does that make sense? How do you get to know yourself better academically? How do you get to know yourself better academically? It's right there, yeah. You got it. Okay, so in freshman of college, right, I had a crazy roommate who used to study for 7 or 8 hours straight, right? This guy didn't get up to pee, he didn't blink, right? He used to sit down, do 7 hours, and just, I don't even know how he did that. But I found the most effective way for me to learn efficiently, right? Which was studying for 30 minutes and taking a 5-minute break. I study for 30 minutes, I take 5 minutes to reflect on what I've learned, what I've seen, what we've talked about. If I'm having like any sort of debate, that sort of like, you really need to actually schedule, know what your best way to learn is. If that makes any sort of sense. Yes? So, being able to identify that now, while you're in high school, and you guys have criteria to follow as to what is due, it's gonna be the same thing in college, but even harder, right? So, you guys need to really think outside the box, and the time to do it is now, right? Knowing what works best for you. If you can study long hours without getting up, without doing anything else, if you need like a 5-minute break, like I said, if you can do an hour and then 10-minute break, whatever works best for you. Find that out. That means you fostered your own way of learning, a more efficient way of learning. And studies have shown that students who actually follow their own learning patterns tend to perform better in college. And that's a fact. There have been many, many studies proving that. So I highly encourage you guys to do that.
I'm originally from Ethiopia, attended Calvin Coolidge Senior High School. I'm currently attending Grinnell College. I'm a senior, actually took the semester off. So I'm interning with the Black Student Fund. Steve, the director for Minority Recruit Online, is actually a really good friend with my supervisor. So they actually asked me to come today and do a little presentation, give some feedbacks as to what my college experience was like, what I've regretted in terms of my lack of preparation in high school. Coolidge was not the best high school I've attended, right? But at the same time, I've had the resources, just the atmosphere was not as encouraging to actually use those resources. So what I've tried to do today is to actually expose that side, expose my regret, I guess, which I think I've done well, I think. So I presented my college experience along with a few tips as to how high school seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen could get ready for college, right? One of the ways I've actually designed this, I didn't really spend as much time as I needed because I was really busy these days, but I've sort of composed it in 4 different parts. First is the academic aspect of as to how a student or a senior in high school should prepare, right? So maintaining hard courses or having hard courses till the end of their freshman year, being persistent in taking those classes, because most of them end up finishing with their prerequisites. So they have a half-a-day schedule their first and second semester, so it really creates a gap as to, I guess, the amount of time they would actually need to enter the next phase, which is college. There is a big disparity because they have a half-a-day schedule, and their schedule is mostly composed of very easy classes, and they have a sentiment of this, you know, end of a four-year journey, sort of say. But a lot of students are disillusioned because they have a tendency of forgetting what the next phase is. Sorry, and knowing that the time frame between the end of the graduation time and the beginning of freshman year of college is actually the same time as your average summer vacation. And so not being able to actually consistently persist in those classes, those hard classes, and most college recruiters do consider your schedule, right, your final year schedule. They prefer students who actually go through rigorous classes than students who actually get good grades through easier classes. They do look at that. A lot of students don't know that, but it's something that many students should keep into consideration, and something that I should have kept into consideration while I was in high school. First and foremost, they heard from a student who was in the same situation, I think, than they were, if not worse. I'm originally from Ethiopia. I literally spoke a few words of English coming here, you know, but I mean, I've taken the initiative to help myself. I know it seems crazy. I've only been here for 5 years, or almost 6 years, but hearing from someone who actually went to, you know, a school like Coolidge, who is not the most prestigious in DC, as you might know, especially 5 years ago, it was crazy, you know. But you know, hearing from someone like me does give them hope, and seeing the position I'm in, I don't want to brag, but you know, Grinnell, you don't really find a lot of Coolidge graduates in Grinnell, and I'm actually the first Coolidge graduate to ever get a full scholarship to Grinnell College, and that's something that the principal appreciates. You know, hearing from someone like me who went through the same situation, who was, you know, I don't want to use the term hopeless, but I really did feel hopeless because I did not know how to use the resources. I had a cultural disability. You know, I was socially disadvantaged financially as well as most of these kids are. And so I'm someone that I believe that these students can identify with. And I think the general, I guess, message I gave them is hope, I believe. It's been a very beautiful event. You know, I'm actually planning to open an orphanage after I finish up school. So helping people has always been my thing. I've had different pursuits as to what I would be happy with, but you know, I came with the conclusion that, you know, I want to be in my dying bed, you know, and be like, at least I did this, you know. And money and those things you do for yourself always tend to be a memory, but there are some things that become memory but are also present with you, right? And helping people, I think, is one of those things. As far as Steve, he's been really, really helpful. You've been extremely helpful. His wife, Gina, very, very helpful. I'm really thankful to actually communicate with these kids. Many of the presentations I've been to, whether it's college fairs or just in-class presentations from students or from college graduates, or from other people that the school used to bring, at least in Coolidge, were really disassociated with us. They really didn't know how to communicate with us. I tried to use as many slang words as I could remember to actually, like I said, to actually help them identify with me. And so it's been a really, I guess, personally, I've learned about it more than I think they've learned from me or from the presentation as a whole. Like it really does. Going to an Ivy League school, especially going from a school, from Coolidge, a school like Coolidge, and most importantly, coming from East Africa, which is known for not having too many things. You know, I think Ivy League schools, when you're actually associated with really with the highest of the highest class, you know, your mentality does change. And I in those 3 years, in those 3.5 years I've been in Grinnell, I felt like I've really sort of forgotten where I come from, whether it's just my social, financial background. It really tend to sort of apply something that is very superficial, I think, in my personal belief, that you cannot really communicate adequately with. If I had actually that face with me, and if I actually brought my Grinnell face, I don't think I would be able to talk to them as. And so this experience has definitely helped me see, I guess, broaden my sort of, help me remember, I guess, things that Grinnell has made me forget, if that makes any sort of sense.
I'm here today to attend the college fair that MRO is putting on. We have a partnership with MRO, Minority Recruit in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am representing Northern Kentucky University in Highland Heights, Kentucky. We offer 70 majors. We have a lot of support services for our students. We have a lot of programs for our students that will assist them in their education all 4 years, such as tutoring and mentoring programs. We have the opportunity for them to co-op, for them to internship. We are so proud to be a Division I school. We became Division I about a year ago, and so we have a lot of opportunities for our athletes. We think it's unique because of our location. We think it's unique because students have an opportunity to have co-ops and internships for most of their programs. We have small class sizes, which is really important for a lot of students that are transitioning out of high school. Our class sizes are average 24. Our ratios are 17 to 1. This year we're very proud that our multicultural students, our African American students, increased by 13%, and that's pretty huge. So we're very proud of that in admissions. We think it's a good opportunity for us to be able to give them one-on-one, talking with students, going to visit the counselors yesterday was a really important part of this trip. We were able to sit down and have one-on-one conversations with the counselors to find out what's unique about their schools, how we can help their schools, and I thought that was real important. They also gave us presentations so that we could understand their missions, the type of populations they have in their school, because school, children are unique, students are unique, and so to be able to know the stats, the graduation rates, and exactly what they need to improve, so how we can assist them. A lot of students want to now move outside of their area. They want to leave DC, or they want to go further than Virginia. They want to kind of branch out a little bit. So for us to be able to come here and give them some unique facts about our school, I think is very important. I think that it would be good for students to go online and be able to do the application and give us the opportunity to speak with each of them by email or by phone. I think our school is a growing school. We opened in 1968 as a community college, and now we're a four-year public school. So we always say that we're a baby in the university world, but we are growing. We have a lot of new exciting things going on.
Education was my profession. Of course, as I said, I was born in Washington, D.C., and of course I attended schools here in Washington, D.C., and I attended the local Teachers College, and after that I went through George Washington University. I did some extended studies at schools such as Peabody and William and Mary, those schools that were involved with some of the other different organizations in which I participated as an educator. I also was able to work with young people from the college as a demonstration teacher in the DC public schools. And then from that, I went into assistant principalship. I also went into a principal of a school which is located in Southeast Washington, D.C., in Anacostia. Well, actually, Mr. Russo brought me out. I've known him since childhood, and I know his brother very well, and I knew his parents, and I was motivated to come out because, of course, I'm interested in education and interested in young people, interested in the generational gap that's there, and sometimes we help to close that by trying to work together and letting young people have a different perspective of us as we grow old and as we adjust to life itself. And it's inspiring to see that activities and programs are going on that encourage the young people to really do the best that they possibly can in terms of education, in terms of making adjustment to quality living. I believe very strongly in developing a historical background and knowledge with young people so they can have an appreciation and can have respect and have understanding. It's important to say that we must continue to impress upon young people that the times are changing, and I often say to my own young people in my family and my grandchildren that when I came along, it was necessary, maybe if you had a high school diploma, that you could navigate the system and you could accomplish, get in a job at a rather good level. When my father and my grandparents, all they needed was a grade school education and they could motivate, they could move and be successful. But now it's so important for them to go much further and to make sure that they reach that level of higher education and that kind of participation. And also it's very important that they understand how to respect each other, how to respect themselves, how to respect their neighborhood and their community. And there's another aspect that we need to push with young people too, and that is service, the service aspect. And we ought to recognize young people too every time they make, and we need to know every time they make progress and give them encouragement. And I used to tell my young people, and I still tell them, the young people, I still use that. A little motto I had was, we call it UAR, but it was understanding, appreciation, and respect. Respect for yourself, respect for other people. So, and have humility. I think humility is one of those greatest qualities that we need to know how to have that internally and externally too, and live gracefully in the accomplishments that we make and that we can give back to our communities.
Today was a magnificent day. It really touched me in terms of the power of love. I have a real love and passion for helping students and meet their dreams. And to see so many students interested, committed to getting an education and bettering their life was absolutely awesome. It just substantiates the vision God gave me, and it was just confirmation. It was confirmation with me that the program that we put out, the effort that we put out, is not in vain. That there's a need for it, and our students are thirsty for it. And so I would encourage those that might see this video to reach back to our students. They're in such need of role models. They're in such need of assistance, direction, and just simply give back. It is the most fulfilling thing you could ever do. I had an idea to set up a web service where we connected to students and we would showcase colleges from a diversity standpoint, PWI, predominantly white institutions. And the vision from there, as I started interacting with the high schools about the possibilities, some of the works that we were doing on our website, I start seeing a real need for our students to connect with colleges. There are a lot of programs relative to preparedness, and those are fantastic, but there are very few programs that actually connected them to college. What does it mean to get a scholarship? What kind of financial aid am I getting? how do I fill out a FAFSA? Just different services and programs to supply the student, the parent with information about how to get to college. Get connected to some of the colleges that may or may not be familiar with to obtain that goal, to get there. But visit our website, sign up. Again, our services are free, so we might start servicing you about the different programs that we offer.
MRO is a great company. I've been working with them for the last couple of months and helping to get my kids to this particular event. My students have individually worked with MRO in the past, and we look forward to a great partnership in the future.
This whole partnership with MRO is very important. Mr. Russo and even him and Gina, Steve and Gina Russo, have a very committed, they're very committed to helping our students. And I think that's what's important. You gotta have passion to help students and be able to go that extra mile. And this is an extra mile for all of us to be doing this. So it's a great initiative.
In my final remarks, I want to compliment Mr. Russo and his staff and these young people who are offering the leadership for this particular program, and the aspect of black recruitment of young people for college is one of the most significant approaches that we need in terms of helping them to be able to become successful in the world in which we live. I observed the attention from the young people. I could tell that they were encouraged and that they were, it was inspirational for them to participate. I noticed every one of these students gave very special attention to what was being said, to the aspect of the videos that had been presented, and that just gave me so much internal joy, because I, as part of the newer generation and the old generation coming together and making this kind of observation, I was greatly inspired. And I want to say many blessings to all of the participants and to the children who were part of this program. Thank you.